Welcome back. After that night, Hannah can't sleep. Again, it's not just the heartburn, though the Gaviscon pills aren't working as well as the liquid does and have left a horrible chalky residue on her teeth. It's not just the baby, who seemed to have woken up as soon as she lay down and is even now shifting and wriggling and turning like a cat trying to get comfortable on a strange bed. It's everything. It's her own fears. It's her argument with Will. It's Emily. It's Emily. Oh God, it can't be Emily, can it? A sickness is churning inside her as she thinks of the dinner they spent together tonight. Emily chatting away, glancing at Hannah with concern as she sat there silently picking at her ramen. Had she guessed? Does she know what Hannah is thinking? Is she lying awake even now at her house across town trying to figure out what Hannah knows and what has changed since last night? As Hannah reaches for her phone, 1:47 a.m., the numbers gleam bright in the dim light of the hotel room. She is swamped by an almost overwhelming urge to call Emily, talk to her. Because it can't be true. She can't be thinking this about her old friend. But the alternatives are just as bad. Could Ryan have left the bar after them and run the long way around the other side of the chapel? It is just possible. He could even have been going up the stairs when Neville was coming down and ducked into a bathroom to avoid being seen. Fuck. Is this really all she has accomplished? She wanted to bring a killer to justice, but instead, all she's done is drag two of her oldest friends into this. Her phone is still in her hand, and now it lights up with a notification. It's an email, and she opens it, wondering for a minute if it's Emily messaging her with some strange telepath. It's not. It's someone called Lynn Bishop. Subject line, hello, Hannah. This is new. Hi, Hannah. Hope you're well. Oh, I'm a journalist with the Evening Mail. Following John Neville's death, we're doing a retrospective on April's case and would love to speak to you about how it feels to have finally laid those demons to. She doesn't even transfer that one to request. She deletes it, feeling sick to her stomach. It's not just the timing, it's everything. The false chumminess, the exclamation point, and using April like they know her, like she's a mate or a girl they went to school with, when in reality they have no idea what she was really like. April, when John Neville gets the dignity of his full name. As Hannah shuts down her phone and lies staring into the dark, she feels a surge of anger so strong it almost scares her. How dare they, the journalists, the public, the vultures who have picked over this case for years like they care, like they have a right to the truth just as much as Hannah does. They've stripped April of her identity, of her uniqueness, of everything that made her real and compelling and fascinating. They've reduced her to a cardboard cutout of a girl and a series of Instagram pictures. The perfect victim, in fact. And as for the rest of the email, laid those demons to rest, she would be laughing if she didn't feel so bitter. She has never felt more haunted by what happened to April and by what she, Hannah, may have done to an innocent man. And now haunted too by what she's doing to her old friends, to Emily and to Ryan, who have suffered enough already. They've lived through April's murder. Is she really going to cast suspicion on them both by speaking up? But if she doesn't, she rolls over, faces the wall, fighting the urge to cover her face with her hands. She has a sudden out-of-character urge for a drink, but that is out of the question. She turns onto her back, puts her forearm over her eyes, shutting out the light filtering in from the street, trying to count her blessings. At least Hugh is out of it. And Will, far away at his mother's house. Thank God. Thank God he was never a suspect. Durant words to November whispered in her ear, treacherously in her ear. Strangulation typically points to a domestic murder, usually a crime of passion. Hannah knows what he was trying to say, what that slippery domestic really means. It means a partner. It means that when strangulation is involved, it's usually a man killing his wife or girlfriend. All the mud Hannah has stirred up would look very, very bad for Will if it weren't for his alibi. April was cheating on Will. April was pregnant, possibly by another man. If the press wanted motives, she's serving up a plethora right here on a gilded plate, and they all point to her own husband. Oh, do they? If Will had not been out of college that night, things would have been pretty grim for him when April died, and they would be looking even grimmer right now. But thank God he was not there. So why can't she sleep? She opens her eyes and turns on her phone again, 2:01. She has to get some sleep, but the baby twists and turns inside her, and suddenly she wishes, powerfully, painfully, that Will were here. Her anger has evaporated, and now she can't bear the way they left it. She opens up WhatsApp and finds his last message. How did it go? Can you talk? She feels a sudden rush of guilt. Her words in the taxi come back to her. I'm glad you find April's death so funny. I care, Will, and I can't believe that you don't. Not just unfair, but bitterly, valvily so. For Will does care. She has always known that. She has watched him building up his shell of defense around himself, listening to him cry out in the night, dreaming of April. She has seen his face as the news reports come on, watched him trying to protect the wounds left by what happened, winced as every newspaper article and request for comment reopened them. He cares just as much as she does. He loved April and she knows it. And yes, perhaps he hated her too, but so did Hannah sometimes. She can admit it now. Though it took many years. They were kids, just kids. I'm sorry, she types out, knowing that her text might wake him up, but unable to wait. I'm sorry I was such a bitch. The thing I said, they were awful. I love you. See you tomorrow. There is a moment pause and she sees typing. She sees typing flash up at the top of the message. It shows and then it goes away. Then comes up again, then disappears. What is he doing? Is he typing the world's longest message? Or is he trying to say something and deleting it and then typing it again and then deleting it again? Typing, pause, typing. It goes away again, this time for so long that her screen goes dark and she has to unlock her phone again. And then, at last, a message comes through. I'm sorry, too. I love you. It took you that long? It did. Okay. And that's it. Whatever he had been going to say, he has thought better of it. What was it? You're right. You were a complete bitch. How dare you say that stuff to me? Or, if you weren't pregnant with my child, I would be considering our future. Or, what's wrong with you, Hannah? Or maybe none of that. Maybe something completely different. I'm sorry, it was my fault too. Neville's death has screwed me up. She wants to text him back, demand to know what he was thinking of telling her, what he's keeping from her. Her mind starts running. There's something I've been hiding. I've met someone. I couldn't work out how to tell you. I want a fresh start. I don't love you anymore. No. She has to sit up at that, her heart racing in her chest, the baby flip-flopping inside her, jolting awake by her surge of adrenaline. No, this is completely irrational. It's the paranoia of 2 a.m. insomnia. She loves Will. He loves her. He's not keeping any secrets from her. He probably just couldn't work out how to phrase his apology. Now she realizes she forgot to take her bedtime blood pressure pill. She stands and hobbles to the bathroom, a stiffness in her ankle and hips that is increasing ever since she became pregnant. Ligaments loosening for the birth, her joints creaking in sympathy. In the bathroom, she turns on the light, blinking at the brightness, and stares at herself in the mirror. Her face is puffy with tiredness. Her hair is tousled and wild, and there are dark rings beneath her eyes. She thinks of Will, of his lips against the top of her head as he's leaving for work, of his whispered words, please, please. She knows what he wants to say. Please, Hannah, don't do this. She should leave this alone. She knows it, for Will's sake, for the baby's sake. But for her own sake and for April's, she cannot. She cannot. She has to be sure. If her evidence put an innocent man in jail, she has to know. She can't live like this. I'm sorry, she whispered to the baby in her belly, to Will's ghost hanging over her. I'm so sorry. She downs the pill with a gulp of water and looks again at her reflection in the mirror. The woman who stares back at her looks exhausted, but also grimly determined. Not the frightened girl of 10 years before, terrified and full of obscure guilt and shame at what had happened, as if it had been as much her fault as Neville's. Now she knows it was not her fault, and maybe it wasn't even Neville's. And she is not afraid anymore. She has stopped running from the monsters. She has turned to face them. She wants the truth. Okay. After. Coffee? Hannah is staring out the window thinking when the question comes, and at first she doesn't hear it. Coffee, madame? She turns to see a uniformed attendant standing beside her, bracing in the narrow aisles, holding out a silver pot. There's a trolley behind her, rocking as the train goes over a crossing. Oh, sorry, I was in a dream. No, thank you. I've had enough caffeine already today. I've got decaf, the woman offers. It's all complimentary. But Hannah shakes her head. She knows what train coffee will be like, weak, instant, with powdered milk in little sachets. No, thank you. Honestly, She racks her brain to try to think of a way to accept this kind woman's hospitality. I'll take a bottle of water if you have one. Still a sparkling. Still, please. She is twisting off the cap when her phone rings, and glancing at the screen she sees Hugh. Speak of the devil. The name gives her a slight jolt of surprise. I know, he's been gone. What will Hugh be phoning about? Hugh? It seemed rude to open up with, why are you calling? So she settles for, how are you? Good. Hugh's deep, rather drawling voice comes down the line, instantly distinctive. How are you? How was Oxford? Now, how does Hugh know she went to Oxford? Hannah frowns. Did Will tell him about the visit? Oh. It was confusing, she says. She doesn't want to talk about it here in front of the other passengers who are mostly attempting to work or sleep. I'm still trying to figure out how I feel about it all. But I think we can rule Myers out. He wasn't there. He was at a conference. He wasn't there? But Will said you and April's sister had an arrangement to see him. No, I mean, he wasn't there that night, you know. She glances over her shoulders. Back then, when it happened, he was out of college. Oh, Hugh says. He sounds surprised and a little disappointed. So, back to Neville then? Maybe, I'm not sure. I realize. She lowers her voice, looks up and down the carriage again. No one is watching her. I realized something while I was there, Hugh. Someone could have been in the room. She is almost whispering now, trying not to use any words that would make her fellow passenger ears prick up. She doesn't want to say Pelham or April or murder. While we were coming up the stairs, they could have shimmied down the drain pipe. What are you saying? Hugh's voice is uneasy. Hannah makes up her mind and then stands up. Hang on, I'm on a train. I'm going to go out into the corridor. Just a second. There is a pause as she maneuvers out of the narrow gap between the seat and the table, makes her way down the aisles and opens the door into the little foyer between the carriages. It's empty. The window slightly open so that the rushing sound of air covers their conversation. Sorry, I wanted to get out of the carriage. I'm not sure what I'm trying to say, but Hugh, we always assumed that the fact that you and I were watching the bottom of the stairs meant no one else could be involved. What if that's not true? There is a long silence. Hannah can almost hear Hugh's brain ticking, realizing what she's saying, realizing what this means. She's not sure what she's expecting him to say, but when he does speak, she can't quite put her finger on it. Alarmed? Almost. Who have you told about this? Just April's sister November. She was there. I didn't tell Emily. I couldn't. She can't bring herself to say the words. I was too afraid. I'm going to speak to the police when I get back, she finishes at last. Hannah, please, be really, really careful about this, Hugh says. I think you should seriously consider. There's a silence, as if he's trying to figure out how to say what he wants to say, as if he can't find a way of putting it into words. What? Hannah asked at last. Are you saying I shouldn't go to the police? I think it's the safest thing, don't you? It's better to get this knowledge out in the open, surely. Hugh stops. He sounds almost panicked. It's very unlike Hugh, who makes a point of being deliberately urbane and unruffled. Hugh, what? Something in his voice has alarmed Hannah, and now she finds herself speaking more sharply than she had intended. What is it? Just say it. You have to be prepared for what might happen if you keep stirring this, for who might get hurt. Is that a threat? What do you mean, who? Hannah says. She is suddenly uneasy. You mean me? Not exactly. Jesus, oh fuck, this is hard. He sounds distraught. Hannah realizes. That's a catch in his voice, something out of proportion to any worry about her digging around in the past. What on earth is going on? Hugh, do you know something I don't? I don't know anything, but Hugh, just tell me, Hannah cries. Then she takes a deep breath. Look, sorry, I didn't mean to shout, but please, you're scaring me. What are you trying to say? There is a long, long silence. So long that Hannah looks at her screen to check that they're still connected, that the train hasn't swept her into a dead spot, but the line is still open. Hugh is still there. And then he speaks. I heard something that morning when I got back to my room. What do you mean you heard something? Someone told you something? No, through the wall. I heard someone moving around. For a minute, a surge of irritation flushes through Hannah. It's like he's speaking in code, beating around the bush, expecting her to understand what he's saying when she has no idea. What does he mean he heard someone? And through what wall? You mean you heard someone in the room next to yours? Yes, Hugh says, and his voice is almost vibrating with urgency. It's as if he's begging her to understand what he is saying without forcing him to say it. At 2 a.m., through the wall. And then she understands. Everything goes cold. A prickling sensation running up and down her spine like ice water. She has to hold on to the grab rail beside the door. She can hear Hugh saying something on the other end of the phone, but she can't make out the words through the rushing in her ears. Hannah, she hears, as if from very far away. Hannah, are you all right? Say something. I'm okay, she manages, though her voice is cracked and strangled, and she can barely form the words. Her hand holding the phone feels numb and cold, like a mannequin stiff and plastic. Thank you, Hugh. I have to go. And then she hangs up. She sits there staring out the window at the Russian countryside, feeling a chill horror trickle through her veins. She wants to wail, no, 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 no. But she can't. She can't say anything. She knows why Hugh didn't want to spell this out. She knows what he wanted to say but couldn't bear to put into words. She knows why he warned her to be prepared for what might happen. For that night, the night that April was murdered, When he finally went back to his room and closed at 2 in the morning, he heard someone through the wall, his neighbor, walking around. But Hugh was on the end of the block. He had only one neighbor, and that neighbor was Will. What is he trying to tell her? After. By the time the train draws into Edinburgh, Hannah has almost convinced herself that Hugh was wrong, or perhaps she misunderstood him. It's not possible that Will was in college that night. To begin with, he would have been spotted. The side gates closed at 9 p.m. and the main gate was shut at 11, so he would have had to knock and be admitted by a porter. And okay, yes, he could have climbed the wall just as she did so many years ago, but it would have been child's play for the police to break an alibi resting on such a fragile lie. And second, she just can't believe that he could have kept something like this secret for over 10 years. Not just from the police, but from his family, from the college, from her. Someone would have seen him at breakfast when he was supposed to be in Somerset, on the train when he was supposed to be at home. Maybe someone did see him, a little voice whispers in her head, or heard him at least. Maybe that someone was Hugh. No, it's not possible. It's not possible. But then she thinks of Will, of his voice on the phone yesterday, uncertain, hesitant, as if trying to convince himself. I'm sure you're right. If he's got an alibi, he's got an alibi. He was talking to Myers about the police assumption that the conference put him out of the picture. But now Hannah can't help but wonder what that long pause really meant. Was he trying to find a way to tell her something that he has never been able to confess? She remembers his endless halting, typing on WhatsApp last night. Was this what Will was trying and failing to find a way to tell her? She is still turning the matter over and over in her head as the door opens and passengers begin to spill out onto the platform. She's so wrapped up in her thoughts as she exits the barrier and begins dragging her case towards the ramp that she doesn't even hear the voice calling her name at first. Hannah! Hannah! Somehow, that last one gets through and she stops, looking around to see if it's directed at her or just someone calling their kid. Though the voice is familiar, it sounds like, but no, that's not possible. It sounds like. She turns, they come face to face, almost slamming into each other, and he steadied her with his hands. Will? Surprise, he says, beaming. Thought I'd pick you up. Though bloody hell, you're a hard woman to stop. You were charging up that ramp like a cricketer going into a bowl. Didn't you hear me bellowing? I'm sorry. She feels winded, as if they really had collided. I was thinking about something. It's nice to see you. Nice to see you? She feels like kicking herself. Nice to see you is what you say to a colleague you bumped into at an art gallery, not your husband after a trip away. Exactly, girl. Get it together or he gonna put one and one and two together. Because Hugh already told him. I missed you, Will says, and he bends and kisses her. His stubble prickled her lips. Hannah feels something twist inside her. Not just a baby, but something else. A confusing, contradictory of emotions. She wants to return Will's kiss, burrow into his arms, and she wants to pull away until she figures out how she feels about all of this. How can both be true? How can she both love this man and be seriously considering that he may have been lying to her face for 10 years? She should trust him. He's her husband. She does trust him. So why isn't she telling him about the bay window and the drain pipes? Meanwhile, Will is talking, asking about her trip, asking about Emily, November, Dr. Myers. Sounds like it was something you needed to do for your own peace of mind, but it's all wrapped up now, he's saying, and her voice is saying yes, while her mind is screaming. Why are you so keen for me to put a lid on this? Is it because you're afraid of what I might find? You're very quiet, he says at last, as she fails to reply to yet another remark. Are you okay? I'm sorry. Hannah passes a hand over her forehead. I, yes, I'm fine. I'm just really tired. I don't know what it is. I feel like I've been hit by a truck the last few days. Well, you're what, nearly 25 weeks? Will says. He kisses the top of her head affectionately. 6 months, nearly third trimester. Third trimester. Hannah weighs the words in her mouth, momentarily diverted from her round and round about April, into the realization that Will's right. Third trimester. Bloody hell. We're nearly there, Will. We nearly are. He beams down at her, and as he does, the baby gives a great kick, the strongest she felt yet, so hard that she stops in her tracks. What is it? Did you forget something? No, the baby. She puts her hand to the side of the bump, and to her astonishment, there it is. A long, distinct push against her palm, for all the world as if the baby is trying to force its way out through her skin, like the scene from Alien. Oh my God, Will, quick! Will looks bewildered, uncomprehending, until she grabs his hand and holds it flat against the side of her distended belly, waiting. And there it comes again. Sorry, excuse me. She feels it at the same time as his face lights up. Holy Mother of God. Will's voice is all, was that it? Was that him? It was. It was our baby. She is beaming, and the smile so wide it feels like it's splitting her face. She can't help herself. They are standing in the middle of the ramp, up from the concourse, people streaming past, banging her case with their suitcase, and tuttering at the obstacle she and Will are forming. But she doesn't care. She doesn't care about anything in that moment. Anything apart from the feel of Will's palm hot against her taut skin and the movement of their child inside her. Oh my God, Will says again, very slowly, and his expression is a mixture of shock and delight. Will he do it again? Excuse me, a woman in a business suit says acidly, pushing past with unnecessary force. Can you move aside? I don't know. Hannah picks up the case. Will drops his palm from where it is pressed against her stomach and takes the handle from her, and the two of them start moving again up the ramp. I think he's stopped now, but it's not going to be the last time. I can't believe you felt it. You can't believe it? I can't believe it. He's smiling, a great huge smile that crinkles the skin of his cheeks with pure elation. Our baby, Hannah. We're having a baby. I know, she says, grinning back. She puts an arm around him, squeezing him so tight that he almost stumbles, their legs banging against each other, and she feels her heart swell with love for him. And the strangeness and the uncertainty she felt all the way up to Edinburgh is gone, completely gone. Smooth move, Will. How could she have doubted him? How could she have doubted herself, her own judgment? This is Will, the man she loves, has loved for more than 10 years, the man she knows like she knows her own skin. I love you, she says. At the same time, he says, curry for supper? And they both laugh, and suddenly everything is all right again. He is her Will, and Oxford is a long way away. Curry for supper, she agrees, and I'll even let you have a beer. I'm drinking for 3 now, he says with a grin, and then he squeezes her back, and she feels her heart overflow. Okay, so that's the end of those chapters. Hold up. Will came, okay, he came in like, oh, he got to fix this. He got to get her off of him, because he knew once Hugh told her what he told her that she was going to start thinking it was him. And my auntie seems to think that Hugh is in love with Will. So Hugh heard Will when he got home. So Will wasn't at his mama's house. And why did it take him so long to say it? So, and then how did Will know she went to Oxford? I mean, not Will. How did Hugh know she went to Oxford? Because Will and Hugh were talking about her trip. And then Hugh said that he don't know if she keep going, that somebody might get hurt physically or emotional. That's what Hannah was like. Which one is it? So Will is back on the suspect list, as Hugh was on my suspect list, but he was down low. I don't know, but he came in and swooped up her mind, because his reaction to surprising her at the train station don't match his WhatsApp reply. And it was dry. So all of a sudden he all bubbly at the train station, surprising her and talking to, with her and stuff. Yeah, he trying to get her off of him. So is she just playing a part? So Will won't suspect that she is suspecting him, and she's still gonna keep going forward? We'll find out. See y'all in the next chapters. Bye for now.